Hey everybody, it's Daryl from CI5307. I want to get you the agenda and information that you'll need for session 6. Session 6 is an online session, which means you can check in basically at any time for leading up to session 7. I want to kind of go through the agenda with you, highlight some deadlines, explain a few things, and then also review a checklist at the bottom of this page. So session 6 is all about instructional design and creating handouts and screencasts that will support tech integration. So great to have ideas about how learning technologies affect language learning and language teaching, but then we also have to be ready to support those so that when students and teachers have questions on how things run, you can support those tasks then with those media. Session 6 then runs from Wednesday, August 2nd through Wednesday, August 9th, right before class at 9:20. There'll be a welcome video posted down here. You're probably already watching it, so no big deal. Announcements, PL and recap. I can't tell you enough how much I enjoyed the time that we had with Justin. He had really great feedback about how it went by email, and I just got a really positive vibe from that experience. And again, my hope is that we can use tools like Twitter or other networks to then connect with other like-minded professionals. Next announcement here is about eFolio. There were some points raised in the check-in about just having kind of a single point turn in. If you haven't already turned in the eFolio link, 2 people already have. I'm only requiring that you turn it into Google Classroom. It would be great if you could share your work with your peers at the share page, but Google Classroom will be the kind of the one-stop shop for that. Support leading up to session 7. You still have access to lab hours with Sarah. I will be in the classroom in session 7 from 9:20 to 12:20. So if you want to work in the space, if you want to meet your group on the St. Paul campus, I will be there. It's not required. There's no mandatory check-in time, but just know that I'll be cranking out some work on Wednesday morning in R260, our regularly scheduled classroom. If you want to join, no pressure at all. Yeah. So session 6 readings are optional, and this is the text here. A little information about instructional design. Instructional design is one of those kind of mysterious professions where people don't always know what instructional designers do. And ID folks have a lot in common with teachers. They ask questions like Riser asks in this text, things like where are you going, how will you get there, how will you know that you've arrived, and it looks at those components that drive instructional design, and they mirror a lot of what teachers, high quality teachers, do. So that's optional reading. I'm inviting you to take a peek at the favorite website, Screencast. Soon you're going to find links on the favorite website sheet for session 6. I believe 2 or 3 people have favorite website presentations for the week. There should soon be a Drive link, YouTube link on favorite website there. Instructional video recap, man, they are great. I will get feedback to you all shortly. I had a chance to run through all of them at least once, and I actually picked the top 3 that I will ask a language teaching colleague to review. And I would invite you to do the same. If you have time, I have an idea here called a peer vote. Go back to the share page, take a peek at it if you have time or need a break, and then vote for your favorite 2 sometime during the week. And that will help steer a peer vote. A teacher vote, my vote will come from, I've pulled what I believe are the top 3. in terms of quality and the technical aspects of the video editing, interesting content, really logical in terms of how people break down teaching something. So my top three are from Haley, Sarah, and Dandan, and I want to I've moved those video links over to a language teaching colleague, and I asked that person to tell me their favorite out of the three. That way, I'm not the one selecting it. So then there'll be results will then come in during our last session together. Flipgrid response. This is kind of what we ran out of time for in session 5 at the tail end. And I had showed some paperwork that's linked here about how teachers are reviewed, for example, at Buffalo High School using a framework by Charlotte Danielson. And I'm asking you then to reflect on how teachers might be assessed on tech integration from either a teacher perspective, a student perspective, an administrator perspective, or a community member or parent perspective. And you'll just click on this Flipgrid link up here. The word Flipgrid is linked to the Flipgrid, and then the password is listed here. So you'll just click on this link and then type in the password to then share your response to those prompts. Those prompts are listed down below as A and B. How should teachers be evaluated on the use of learning technologies in their classroom? And B, how might that look? Provide rich details, maybe using one of the lenses from either Puente Duda or Joan Hughes, Samer, or RAT frameworks. But there are other frameworks that you can use to assess tech integration, frameworks like Bloom's taxonomy. There are loads that you can look through. So please record a up to 3 minute response on Flipgrid on that. Number 5 here in the agenda is to look at information about how to make a handout. One of your members of your group is going to need to look through this tutorial and some specific information on handout support. So this is not something that everybody needs to tend to, but the handout person or people from your group. Screencast is required for everybody this week. You need a screencast as a part of your tech showcase, but then there's also a task that we'll all accomplish with the help of a tool, maybe like TechSmith Relay. Here's the link to download TechSmith Relay. All U of M students and faculty have access to this, so I highly recommend, if you have a computer at home or that you're bringing with to school, to download that. And then here's a tutorial from me on how to create a screencast. So it is a screencast about a screencast. So you'll follow this information. There are also other options. I've had some people run into some bumps with TechSmith Relay, and that's okay because we have lots of options behind it. Another one that I used frequently as a teacher in K-12 was called ScreencastOMatic, another great one. And the task is listed down here as an activity called My Spin. So what's great about this class and all your classes is that you're getting all of these ideas, but our context and our teaching audience is going to vary. Some of you are going to teach ESL. Some of you are going to be maybe in an immersion setting. Some of you are going to teach middle school, some at high school. We all are sharing rich ideas from this class and other classes. My hope is that you'll, the task that you have this week is to share an idea from this class and then put a spin on it. So maybe it's an idea then from the Stanley text that you want to kind of repackage for your setting, right? So if it's a high school example and you want to teach K-5, then maybe put that spin on it from K-5. Or if it's an idea from an article, repackage it in something that fits, right? So one of the best part about watching other people teach, for example, and the ideas can come from conversation from class also, and I want you to be clear about what your idea is. Is it an idea that you got from class? Is it an idea that you got from an article? Specifically, what was the article? Who was the author, etc.? And I want you to share that by exploring the technology a little bit, or creating a slide that has, 4 key points or whatever. I want you to practice screencast. This is a really powerful tool to really shape tech integration and how it's going to unfold in your classroom. And then B, the second response to this is about what kind of modifications or spin do you need to make this work for your context, right? So for me as a secondary Spanish teacher, trained secondary Spanish teacher, how is that going to fit then for me in my classroom? And then C, that third prong to this prompt is about what kind of tech do you need to facilitate that task, and what does it look like? So share a little bit about those 3 prompts along the way, and then share that at the share page. I'm actually using the same share page throughout. This is something I haven't done in the past, but have done because I think it makes sense. And that is to just share your screencast links here. So you might share a YouTube link, a Drive link, a Vimeo link, however you want to do that. And it's right above your instructional videos. I think that's going to make more sense to do it in a document that you're using frequently throughout the term. The deadlines you're going to see listed in purple, and there's a checklist at the bottom to kind of recap that. Please share that before session 7 on Wednesday, August 9th, before class starts. I guess technically I think it's at 9:25. Tech showcase summary. Why don't I zip over to the projects page to kind of reiterate what the goal is about this. You're going to have 7 or 8 minutes to share out with us to describe what the project is that you plan on doing. And then there are those guiding questions that I'm going to ask that you address in class. So when we look at Tech Showcase, it's going to pull up that rubric, and I'm asking you to lead then with things like, where are you going? Why are you going there? So what's your task? Why did you pick that? How will you know you've arrived? What kind of evidence will be pointing to the direction of whether your students are doing the task or not? What does the tech look like? What might it look like? And 5, what do you hope the outcomes are? Are those standards based? Are they language focused? It could be a combo of those two. And then I want you to share your resources right in tier 2 here. So if you just put your group name and then link that to the folder, right? So if you put members of your group, member names, and then you're going to want to highlight those names and then link it. And this is where you would paste your Google Drive folder. And in that folder, you're going to have the following things. You're going to have a link to a lesson plan, to a paper that's 4 to 6 pages, plus APA references and citations. You're going to have a link in that folder to the technical handout that one of your people or one of your group members will make. A link to video screen capture, a screencast. And then you'll actually do this last part later. So don't worry about the reflection until after you deliver your presentation. So that's that. Last piece I want to uncover before I get into the checklist is celebration. In the past, for the last 3 years or so, my wife and I and our family have hosted the SLE cohort, the whole class of 5307. We've hosted them at our home for either lunch or dinner, whatever is convenient, and to enjoy some downtime. You have worked hard over summer with several classes, I believe 4, 5, or 6 at running at the same time. It's time to celebrate. It's time to mark this milestone of kind of almost right around maybe what? Not quite a third, but a chunk, definitely a chunk, 3 months out of your 15 months of your journey as an ILP student. And I think it's important that you make time to celebrate that. And I'm inviting us to do that together. So there's a link here at the word celebration, and it brings you to a form on something that would work. So I'm inviting us to consider the 9th of August, and that's Wednesday, right after class, heading over to the St. Paul Student Union, which is about a block and a half away, for some bowling. And bring your own lunch, or people order pizzas together, or whatever the case may be. Bowling is cheap. I would actually pay for the bowling. If you want to bring lunch, or grab something at the student union to bring over to the bowling alley. They've got a really nice setup at the St. Paul Student Union. It's at the corner of like Buford and Cleveland. And then the other four options are on the 23rd. And there are two reasons I picked the 23rd. First of all, my family and I are going to Colorado after the class on the 9th. So on the 10th, we leave for a trip to Colorado to visit my brother's family. And I also noted, I grabbed the SLE schedule, so the cohort has class in the morning on the 23rd, and there might be time then for a late lunch. Now, I'm giving two options. I got some feedback from two students on maybe either coming to Buffalo or staying on campus, and I'm open to either. I want to do what the group wants to do. So Wednesday 8/23 is an option to do bowling for lunch. If we did Wednesday in the evening, it would have to be done at the Kaufman Union Bowling Alley, because St. Paul's only open until like 5, and we want it to be later into the evening. Otherwise, on Wednesday, on the 23rd, we can do either late lunch, and by late lunch I mean like 1:30, 2 o'clock, because I think you have class until noon, either late lunch or dinner at our home in Buffalo with games. My kids would love to play kickball in the cul-de-sac. It'd be fun to make you a lasagna or a risotto, something to just share a meal with you. And just hang out, have some downtime, connect as a cohort, chat with people, find out what their plans are during that interim time between late August and early September. So I hope that maybe one of these will work, and we'll probably end up going with the one that works the best. If you have other suggestions that you think might work well for the cohort, maybe just email them to me. And if these options don't work for you, just mark that too as an option. But please check all those that work for you. If we do gather in Buffalo, I don't know everybody's access to cars. So if you are someone that would need a carpool, check carpool. If you are someone that has a car and could bring others, please check that. And this will actually, I'll be able to track this by email address, because this form is tracking by email address, just as a heads up. Let me know if you have any questions about the celebration. Again, it's a chance to connect, kind of relax, have a little bit of downtime, etc., and just be able to chat. It's important to do that as colleagues too. Session 6 checklist. This is the checklist that you should review at the end of session 6 before our next class. Here are the background assignments, things that maybe you've already done. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions about this. My phone number is listed there. You can call or text this week or anytime. And then I'll just list my email address, which I'm sure that you have already. Let me know if you have any questions along the way. I wish you luck on your online session 6 information, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your plans come together for session 7 on the Tech Showcase. And again, you can check in to the agenda on your own time during session 6. I'll be there session 6 in St. Paul if you'd love to join. If not, good luck to you. Take care, everybody.